Hey, everybody, it's Ken Compton from the Savvy Inspector, and today we're going to do another podcast for you. And we've got some great guests. We've got Reshema and Jacques Mountain. And guys, I just called who was on the left first because I read right to left. No. The Mountains, great folks. They're from the Metro Atlanta area, and not only do they own Dream Home Inspections Company, they've been doing around 16 years. They also own a home inspection school in Atlanta as well, and help students that want to get into the home inspection business be successful. One of the things I really was attracted to these guys about was not only their dynamic personalities and their skill sets for sure, but they really are caring. And one of the things when I heard about your students where you had a little mentoring program after so that you could help them be more successful, not just here's your diploma from inspection school, good luck, you guys help them move on. And that really gives the students a really secure feeling. So we're excited. And the Savvy Inspector, that's what we do. We kind of hold hands and help everybody reach their goals and objectives. So today, these guys have come on and we're going to be talking about, I forgot to say, how could I forget to say, Reshema and Jacques are also success coaches at the Savvy Inspector.
Yes,
I forgot to say that. I always think of you as the home inspection owner and the school owner. I don't think of that always as that. So we're going to be talking about success of 2021, what you had going on. And I always say success is not a straight line. And I saw a graph the other day with some hairpin curves going across the mountain. And I said, I should use that graphic to emulate success. You take one step forward, two back, one step forward, two back. So it kind of is not a straight line. So let's talk about you guys in 2021. What happened, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Okay, right. I'll let him start.
All right, I will start. All right, so let's talk about the good. As far as the good is concerned, this was our best year in business of the 16 years. Yes, sir. So we goal was 1,200 inspections, and we were right there at the door. So it was best year in business. Secondly, major thing was coming on board with the Savvy. So that was huge for us because it was a turning point in our business. I don't know if we ever told the full story, but I thought we were ready to go to another city. I thought we were ready to go to Macon and start going. I was like, we've grown so much. I think we should branch out to another city. And I was like, well, let's just call Ken and let's see what happens. And Ken was like, man, you ain't done enough in Fayetteville. So that was a great turning point for us getting connected with you all. So those are my two things I wanted to share.
I want to just follow up with Jacques before we get started, because that's too interesting, because a lot of people over time we always try to give great content for free. And I know that you were on my list. And so you had consumed some great content over the years. And so you didn't really think we were a charlatan, but you didn't really move forward in the beginning. Yes. So help me understand why you didn't move forward then. And then what was the tipping point where you said, we really need to join that group? So how come what held you back in the beginning?
So in the beginning, honestly, it was so much information. I loved it. I couldn't implement per se by myself. She was working her job and I implemented all I could. Looking back on it, I was like, gosh, $80. I used to spend, $80 going out to eat. And I just wish I had joined sooner. But for years I listened, I bought stuff. When I got ready to hire my first inspector, I went on and bought the 3-day seminar you did. So for years, I took in the content. I always knew you were the expert. I always knew it. Everybody I talked to, I didn't care what other coaching program they ever brought up. I was like, Ken Compton. And so when I got to the point where I was like, I don't know enough, I told Reshema, I said, I'm calling and I'm signing up for the highest package that they have. Right. I said, I did. I was like, because when I called, Jeannie kept talking to me and I was like, ma'am, sign me up. I was like, I don't care if it's $1,000 a month. I was like, I don't need an interview. I know he's awesome. Just sign me up, And she was like, oh yeah, we do this and we do. I was like, ma'am, please sign me up. I don't even care. So, but I always knew that, Ken, but I knew when I said, okay, I don't know what else to do. Let me get some coaching.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting because, we have a lot of people, we call the sales cycle between people see our stuff, our content in the beginning before they join. They're in a position where a lot of times, like you are a one-man shop, and there is a lot of information on the Savvy Inspector because the Savvy serves people who aren't in the business yet all the way to those that want to retire. So that's a lot of content. And so instead of people just looking at the things that are relevant to where they are in their business, they have a tendency to be over there on advanced strategies or direct to the public or things they shouldn't be in right now.
Yes, so definitely.
We're doing a redesign on that to try to eliminate that now. That's interesting. I always have to ask that question because it was a lot of time between I might not be able to afford $80 to give me the highest package, because Jeannie called me up and said, I have this couple that just called and they just want the highest package. And I'm like, well, did you get their credit card?
Right.
I didn't really say that. So I said, who is it? And I said, okay, no, I know Jacques. I knew your name because you'd been on the calls and other things. So I said, okay, well, it'd be interesting to find that out. So that is interesting.
Yes, sir.
We had Preston Sandlin when he first joined, him and Meg. One of the things he said in an interview that I did with him was he said, my goal was really to go in there and download everything you had and throw it away and just get rid of the membership site. And he said, and that's fair. And I said, he said, but then after I started reading the material and I saw how much stuff there was and how much I could learn, we're still here as a member.
Yes, sir.
So that's really it, because it can move you through all stages of your business, including wanting to retire and sell your business to someone else.
That's right.
So that was interesting. Okay, well, I just could not pass that up because you guys, a lot of people feel that way. A lot of people think $80 is the end of the world, but today, if you go to lunch, and you take your family, it's $80. I mean, even
more than $80. Yeah.
I mean, Beth and I had lunch. I had a doctor's appointment down in Port Charlotte, and we went down there. And on the way back, we had another call later, and I said, "Let's just stop and grab a bite." She said, "Well, we hadn't eaten that Five Guys in a long time." I'm like, "Oh, here goes the calories," And so we had the mini cheeseburger, but we had I didn't have fries, and we had a milkshake or whatever. $26 for the two of us for lunch.
Right.
Yeah.
So, $80, at a $26 lunch at Five Guys, that was indigestion city. Or you can spend $80 and every month and learn the savvy strategies and grow your business, and you can eat filet mignon for lunch.
Yes.
So it's always interesting, but we've always kept that price at $79.95. We have never, over all the years we've been doing this, because I didn't want price to be a barrier for somebody to come in and learn.
Right.
Yeah.
If $80 is too much for you, then maybe we're not right for you.
Yeah.
So that's it. So Jacques shared what happened. Now, Reshema, share with me what you were thinking. What was exciting about 2021?
Like you said, we were booming. We just had inspections just coming from just left and right. The beginning of the year, it's kind of but once March hit, it was like we took off. And so we had to bring in other people to help us, because I didn't believe in turning away money. I don't believe in that. And so I was like, well, who can we get to help us? And, because we had the course that he teaches, as well as, the mentorship. So we had all of that going on. So it was a lot of fun. And I had come in full time because I saw a business finally.
Yes.
For years, I didn't work with him because I only saw he's an inspector. But once I was like, okay, we are a real business. Yeah. And so things happening. And then when he said that, he was like, I need some help. I was like, yes, because this man knows business, because I knew your story, how you'd already bought, created, sold another multi-million-dollar business, and then turned around and did it in a totally different area. I said, we need some help. Right. Because we knew what we knew. We didn't know what we didn't know. Right. And so I knew we had more in us, and I knew we could go further if we just had some more information. So it was kind of twofold. It was like, we're great. We're hitting great numbers. But my thing is, there's more. Right. And it's like, how can we get more, but it can be organized, structured system. So that's really what it was for me, the introduction of hitting our goals, as well as the introduction of, we are really a home inspection business. We market home inspection services. So it was just a whole different paradigm shift for me. Yeah, big time.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. I wish more and more people would look at their home inspection company as a business, because they can go a lot further.
Yes.
You can only have X number of hours a day. And let's say you're doing 40 home inspections a week, but you got a demand for 80. Okay, so what you going to do? But then the reason I think that holds one-man shops back is they're afraid that the inspectors will come up and mess their business up by saying stupid things to the realtors, so their realtor base will go away, and they're afraid they'll say something goofy at the inspection, and they'll get a lawsuit. And
Right.
we can help people manage all those things. Those are certainly manageable risks. By having procedures in place. And, most home inspectors don't make big mistakes. You get sued, but you don't really make big mistakes. So that was interesting. So I know that you guys you really did a whole internal look at your business. And you said, here's some things that aren't really business-ish that we're doing. And we probably ought to change that and move it to a business. I mean, they were business-ish. They were on a level.
Yes, I love that.
In business.
Yeah.
So really what happens, let's talk about some of those things. What you found out is you needed to upgrade your staff and change things in a few ways. And I think the other thing that you learned is there's only a certain number of things that you can do in a day that you're really good at. It's the Gary Keller one thing. What is our one thing? And you can successfully outsource other things like your online marketing to the Savvy Inspector and other things. You can outsource things successfully as long as you control it and manage it. So let's talk about that. Did that cause you some slowdown in business, and what kind of struggle did you feel from it?
We didn't slow down. When I looked, when we looked at everything, we realized that we were totally, I'll just say, out of balance with how we were paying. Like, we didn't have a structured pay for the people that were working with us. We realized we were paying a lot. And so going through examining, taking a look at the 5 pillars, we didn't realize how did our sales, what's the percentage of our conversion? So it really made us ask a lot of questions that we didn't have answers for. And I didn't like that. And so it made us realize that, we really are business owners. And so now we have to bring in people that are for our vision. And it was very difficult for us because a lot of the subcontractors that we had working with us have been with us for years. But we realized that it was multiple visions in one company. Yes. And we just knew that wasn't our best interest. And we knew it wasn't their best interest, as far as what they really could do and how far they could go and what we could do. So there were quite a number of issues, and we realized where he was best suited. Like, he's not best suited with administration and answering the phone, things like that. And neither am I. Right. And so we were able to really come up with a plan and work the plan for bringing in people that were great at what they did, so we could be, great at what we did. So that's kind of like, a summary of a lot of things that we did. Yeah.
So becoming a business really makes you do a lot of internal evaluations. For instance, one of the things people don't do is performance to plan. So when the business closes at the end of the month, here's what we said we were going to do. Did we do it or didn't we?
Right.
And if you don't say what we're supposed to do this month, it's kind of hard to say what was the performance. I think, if the circumstances lead you, if you don't lead the circumstances. And I think they had competing visions within your firm, and the only vision your firm needed was y'all's.
Yes.
And so that's important to enumerate that to the staff and say, hey, here's our vision. I'll assure you that I'm constantly reassuring our staff, here's our vision and here's where we're going. And the things that we're talking about doing, does that really move our vision forward? And so you really have to look at it, but we look at each month too, where are we based on what we said we're going to do and what worked and what didn't, because how could you grow if you didn't know what it did? A guy said to me one day, I want to get off pay-per-click ads I want to move to something else. And I said, well, what else? And he said, well, I'm not going to call on offices. I'm not going to do this, but I'm not getting the kind of, return that I needed from pay-per-click. And I said, well, let me ask you this. Where's the report from the pay-per-click vendor? And he said, well, I don't know, it's around here somewhere. And I said, well, let's get it out and let's look at it. So he just hadn't read the report. He had no idea. I mean, he still wasn't making a profit, but it wasn't as bad as he thought. Right. And he said, well, I think I'll keep on doing that then. And I'm like, wait a minute. You're losing money on every transaction with pay-per-click, but you're going to do more of it? That's business-ish.
Yeah.
That's really business-ish.
Yes.
Hold on the ish. So you just can't do it. So if you don't know if you're making a profit or not, why would you keep doing more of it? Same way in a strategy, marketing strategy. If that strategy isn't getting the ROI, did the strategy fail you or did you fail the strategy?
Right.
Maybe you're just not doing it right, but without it, you can't know it. So the turnover that you had with your inspectors, you just said, okay, here's what happens is we love you, but this is the way we're going. And I know that that doesn't fit you in the future. How about recruiting new inspectors? Easy, hard?
It's been harder than what we anticipated. Yeah. Unfortunately, we have had multiple people go on and apply, but by the time you get to the interview, oh man, I've been sorely disappointed with some of these interviews. So one guy, he was like, I said, well, do you know anything about our company? He said, no. I said, well, what do you know about home inspections? Well, not much. My friend just told me I should apply because it looked like good pay. I said, okay, all right. Well, this is over. This is over. So
blessed day. Next.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the first interview question I ask. That's a good tip, Jacques. You just said it. And it's a great tip to take that with you. When you're interviewing, the first question you ask is, what do you know about our firm? And if they say nothing, hang up. Because if you're applying for a job that's high paying like yours is, and you don't know anything about it, you are not a serious candidate.
Yes.
Correct.
I mean, really?
Yes.
So save yourself a little time. I call that you have to kiss a lot of frogs before you get a prince.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's a few princes and princesses out there, but you got to kiss a bunch of frogs to get to them.
Right, right.
It helps us to also realize that we're not negotiating on what we really want and who works well with the culture of our firm. You know, we're really serious about the customer service part, the compassion part, as well as the technical part. And if you don't have that, like, you know, we're not negotiating on that. So it's helping us to really help with our writing out our policies to, you know, get through things quicker to see who could be the prince or the princess, because we have a strong female inspector, to help us see who really fit, like if they're teachable. So it's helping us to see what we really want.
Yes.
So we can see, are we a great fit for you and are you a great fit for us? So not being business-ish has helped us to really kind of like take our time to rebuild it the way it's gonna last, and it can be fun for us because, you know, it's a great business.
Right, because in times past, like I've taken more inspections, I've gone back into the field more, but I was willing to do that versus just hire somebody that we weren't even sure if they were gonna last.
Right.
So it was like, you know, we had to let go of, you know, 2 guys, you know, promoted them on, but it was like, we're just going to stick with the 2 we have until we find a solid 3rd person. And until then, you know, I'll just pick up the slack because we really want to make sure that we have, you know, quality people moving forward. You know,
that's one of the things home inspectors have a tendency to settle because they have 60 slots open. They have demand for 80 and they can't find the perfect person or the person that's right for their firm. They just settle and get somebody. And that's where the trouble begins.
Yes.
So not settling is a good thing. So Jacques, I guess the question is your goal to do home inspections in the future, or you want to get out of that part of the business, the home inspection, the actual deed? What's your thoughts?
Yes, sir. So ultimately, I do want to move away from being inspection. I love teaching. I like to teach. That's just what I do by nature. Since we've seen you, I actually added another course. So starting Monday night, I'm gonna start teaching a code course because, you know, here in Georgia, you got to have that ICC. Yeah,
the building code. That's a big thing.
Yeah, so I got 9 people signed up for my ICC class starting Monday night. So so definitely want to continue doing more teaching, and so yes, that's want to move away from being in the field. Yes, sir.
Ken, I know you the E-Myth
Revisited.
So the E-Myth Revisited with us not just hiring anybody, him being in the field, we're writing the policies, we're writing the checklist, the SOPs. If this happens, then this.
Right.
If that happens, then this. We didn't have that in place.
Not at all.
If something were to happen, it was just like, well, let's call Jock. Well, let's call Jock. Let's call Jock. You can't be gone for 30 days on an island somewhere where the service doesn't work and everybody, well, let's call Jock, let's call Jock. And we were there.
Yes.
And so we realized it's like, okay, there has to be a system that people can manage when we're not in the business. And not just for him, but also for me.
Right.
Because it's like, if you can't call him, I don't want you calling me. So we are really big on like, I have a drive full of a SOP for this. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of am like, I really like that. I really do. I really like that because, you know, we're a business, not pretending. As you said one time, it's the difference between having an LLC and having a business that has systems that run and operate outside of you.
Right.
And so that is ultimately our goal. And we know it may take a little bit of time, but once it's solid, right. And it'll run and it'll last.
Right. And even when we hire, like, you know, the last guy I was talking to, I talked to two guys. One guy was pretty good, but, you know, ultimately in the back of my mind, I said, would I feel comfortable introducing this guy to Ken? Like, would I bring him and feel good about,
like Uncle
bring him to Uncle Ken. You know, I was like, is Uncle Ken gonna like this guy? I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. So we passed on him too, because we really want to bring in people that, like, when you see him and you meet him, you're like, okay, this is legit. These are solid people. I like the guy, you know, where you guys are headed.
Yeah. You know, the most successful home inspectors are the ones that have good interpersonal skills. If they can speak with the janitor of the company or the president of the company and be equally competent and comfortable, that's the kind of people you're looking for. You can teach Ken Compton to be a home inspector. You know, that you can teach me to do it, you know, and I'm getting a manicure and full service fuel if they had it. Okay. I'm still getting a manicure, and a pedicure, but I'm just can't get a full service fuel anymore. So, but I have those interpersonal skills where I can make friends with people when I'm on the job and they feel comfortable with me and that kind of thing. I can mirror them. I can read them in the first 5 minutes, how their personality is, and then I can reflect mine to theirs. And they have a great experience. And I had a lady in first time home buyers from New York, and had a, you know, regular, just a home in New York. And they came here and wow, now they could buy a, you know, $400,000 home in Marietta, and their little home in New York was way more than that. And they got 4,200 square feet in a basement. And, you know, so I made them feel comfortable. First time home buyers, they gave me 18 referrals personally. They referred all of their families and friends that moved here to me personally.
Wow.
Now, you know, I didn't want to do it. You know, I'm still getting calls for me to do the people's inspections. So we don't even own it.
Right.
Wow.
You know, so they're like, okay, let me see if I can find Ken. Oh, I know where he's at, the savvy inspector. He ain't gone anywhere, just change titles. But so if you have good interpersonal skills, that really makes all the difference in the world. So when you're hiring somebody, think about, you can teach. I'm just going to say one other thing. Today is the perfect time to hire too, because when you're hiring somebody, don't look just, are they going to be a good home inspector? Look what other upper level roles could they fulfill in your firm? Because I know you guys want to take a month vacation. Beth and I take a vacation a month at a time, and we don't ever call in. Somebody's got something, one of the managers might say, hey, you know, here's what we found, and or here's something that needs your approval or whatever, because it's above their authority. But we don't hear about it. We vacation. And you know, when you put procedures in, the beautiful thing, that's like the crying baby, you know, you hear it all the time. But once it's done, that thing quiets down, and then you just tweak when you find a new situation. You don't have to go in and start over. No, procedures and systems are the thing. If you haven't read, I know you guys haven't, I certainly recommend it to all of our clients, the E-Myth Revisited. If you really want a business, that's it. I mean,
it is.
Oh my gosh. Well, I talk to clients, they haven't paid themselves in 10 years. They haven't taken a vacation in 20 years. I'm like, really? Why wouldn't you just go to work for somebody else? They'll give you a vacation and you'll get a raise, and they'll actually pay you. But you know, it's that thing for sure. Well, let's talk about 2022 a minute, because I know that 2021 was still a pretty crazy thing. I mean, I know you face inventory shortages just like everybody else did, and you know, then the waiving of the crazy home inspection contingency, that was another unforeseen thing that who have ever thought of that. And you know, the migration shift from the Northeast down to the beautiful South. You guys, that exasperated everything, and you know, your deal had to look better, and so a lot of them are paying cash, so there was no inspection and that kind of thing. So but I think 2020, and you survived that and actually exceeded your profit goal and had the best year ever, so you're on the right, sure. But 2022 might throw us a curveball or two. Just think of external threats to the firm. What if interest rates rise 4 times in 2022? That certainly affects home buyers, which then affects home sellers. So there's opportunities in both. What are you guys thinking about? What are you thinking about? Let me back up for a minute and say, what was the biggest revenue generating strategy you had in 2021? What was the single thing? Was it direct to the public, working with agents, top producers, non-top producers? Was it networking? What do you think brought you the most revenue? Single most thing. What was it?
Most revenue. It's probably 50-50 last year. It was direct to the public.
Agents to direct to the public?
Yeah, direct to the public and the agents, because once again, with the teaching, now here, we do multiple home buying seminars per weekend. We have, I think, 8 that we do per month. So we are, when I listen, years ago, I want to say 09, 10, when I heard direct to the public, man, when people started asking me to teach, I took everything that they had, City of Atlanta, Fairburn, Joe Smo's home buying seminar. I took all of them. I'll come to everything. Yeah. And so years later, we're still teaching them. And I actually have a team member who that's all he does. He doesn't even do inspections. He only teaches seminars. So he's Zooming 8 times a month. So we have gotten constant feedback, and we get, that's just a constant referral base.
Big time, yeah.
And then we get the people, then we get to meet new agents, and then new agents bring in more. So that has been a great, it's just been an ongoing cycle. Right. And then the other part of it is, of course, our returning agents and using them. But so it was probably about 50-50. Yeah, we had a lot of brand new agents last year.
Yeah, we did. And what we foresee is, because one of our strategies is video, and also bringing our top agents that we have relationship with, spotlighting them on some of our things. So just in case nobody goes into the office, we've been thinking about how can we still stay in front of people. Email, we're part of the newsletter program, email program, videos. We really are trying to hit our social media because of the people that we have worked with that are top agents. They are on social media. So we're staying in front of them and have some things coming up where we're wanting to invite at least one person that they have a good relationship with, because we realize that those agents are in the same circle of top producers or with top producers.
That's right.
So we're branching out to at least double our relationships with top producing agents, because we know somebody's going to be buying the houses, and we know those people are the people that have the money. And so our top producing agents, they work with clients that are buying commercial land, bigger homes. So we're making sure that we stay in front of them and stay relevant. And we're also going to be getting back on vendor programs. Right. Because we had slowed down with doing that because we were getting so much business, we didn't have to. But as you talked to us a couple of weeks ago, we're going to, because that's a fundamental principle. If you're not in the office, you still get that sheet. That's right. And so our name is going to be on that sheet, even if we're not in their presence. So those are some things that we're working on for 2022, just to kind of offset some changes that may happen with the interest rates and things like that, because we know somebody's going to be buying some houses.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, even in 2007, 2008, during the big recession, what happened? People were still buying houses, and we had to shift at Southern Home. We found through demographic work that Marietta and all those were kind of dead, but inside the perimeter homes were still selling. And so we just retooled and moved inside the perimeter, and we're able to keep our whole staff full all the time. But you do have to rethink and retool. So that's a good strategy. One of the things I love was I taught CE classes. We did first-time homebuyer seminars for folks that really weren't credit worthy yet, and they hadn't bought a home yet. And so what happens, they went through this workshop. That may be some of what you're doing, and they had to listen to the home inspector and the insurance agent and all these people that we all came and provided content. And that wasn't immediate business always, because they had maybe a credit repair or whatever. But after I went and spoke there, it might have been 3 months, but they'll say, hey, we saw Ken at the first time homebuyer seminar. Right. Inspection. So that's really the thing. So one of the things I think that we're missing with that strategy is, could we follow up? In other words, could we get the email address and the first name of all the participants? And then could we put them in an email nurturing sequence that talks about, when you're looking for a home, here's the things I want you to look for, because here's my goal. I only want you to pay me once. Okay, just pay me one time. Okay, and then what happens? But in order to do that, you need to be as an aware buyer, aware of these types of issues. And if it has these issues, maybe Federal Pacific, Federal Pioneer Stab Block Panel, or LP siding, and it's in bad condition, or maybe the roof shingles are waving at you as you roll down the road. It might be time for a roof, and these are expensive things. So by nurturing those prospects that go to these seminars that you're doing 8 times a month, you could really increase the number of units you get from it.
That's good.
You can show you exactly how to do it. Yeah.
You do that today.
Yeah, so that's kind of an advanced strategy. And if you're brand new in the business, certainly we won't be teaching you that. We have it available to teach you, but we won't be teaching you that until you get to that. We also taught CEs, and we taught them. We had a training center, but we also went right to the agents' offices and taught them.
Yes.
So today, not that many people in the office, but could we get approved in the state of Georgia for CEs online?
Yes.
Okay, so if we can, boom, same story.
Yes. We got 3 set up. Yeah, we have 3 set up coming in the next 3 weeks.
That's great. That's fantastic.
Yes,
so leveraging video is a super powerful thing. I mean, that's it. So in 2022, you're thinking about changing your mix, redirecting your resources. I mean, are you going to try to stay still doing top producing real estate agents? I would. And as long as they're here, I'm going to leverage their relationships. Maybe go some direct to the public and do some other things, because you could invest some additional funds into go direct to the public. Some things that get you going. For instance, somebody comes to your website and does a purchase. We could retarget those folks. And every place they go on the internet, they see your company and your brand, your ad. And it drives them right back to purchase your product. So it's called retargeting, those kinds of things, lots of cool things. Increase your blog content where you have lead generation things. Because one of the things I want you to do is I want your home inspector, and we're testing this now to see it. When somebody types in your company name and they go for that back browser, maybe they're not convinced for whatever reason. Now, your website was built by us, so I know they're convinced. But let's say there's that rare oddball that isn't convinced. And they're going to push the old mouse right over to the escape your website button. Well, why wouldn't we have a pop-up that pops up and says, hey, before you go, I know you're looking for a home. You're going to need a checklist. How about let us download this? Where do we send it to you? Okay, so then what happens is we send them the checklist. The system does, you don't. The system sends them the checklist. And then what happens, a nurturing sequence goes with it. And even if they didn't choose you, look how helpful you are. Okay, so they'll tell your friends, or they'll even actually maybe a lot of times buy from you, and price becomes less of an issue, secondary, really.
Yeah.
My ideal customer when I was in the home inspection side of the business was a person that had money. We marketed to the affluent, and they didn't care if it was $50 or $100 difference. What they really cared about is they got the information they needed to make a business decision.
Right.
And, when you get into some of these first-time home buyers and all that, they don't have $2 to rub together. Why are they even buying a house? Because you guys know how expensive it is to maintain it. So, that's the whole thing. So helping. But the first-time home buyer seminar on video is really a cool thing. Getting people to register and attend. One of the things that when we did them years ago, it'd be a rainy night, they'd have to come to a hotel. You get about 3 people.
Right.
Ken's time and 3 people don't really work that well.
Right. Right.
So for the first one we did online, we did a video, and we actually taped one right there when we were all doing it. And that thing had gotten so many views on YouTube. And I thought, well, why don't we do that all the time instead of me having to schlep out there? That made no sense. So even for advanced marketers like you guys that own big, inspection companies, there's lots of cool things that you can do to retool to make sure that you reach that target audience in a recession. I don't know that we're in a recession. We sure might. It just depends on what happens. But, we all survived 27 to 28. Jacques actually reminded me he came into business in the recession. And he's not the only one I know. I mean, either he wasn't thinking that through, or he's just a bold individual. Maybe it's some bold. I don't know. But like, woo, everybody coming in, and he's digging it. So that's good. Okay, but what about other things in 2022? I know that you have some staff. Are you going to bring on additional people? Are you going to get an office? Or are you going to still work virtually? What you thinking? How's that going to work for you?
Definitely need another inspector. Office? Do you need an office?
Right now, I've been kind of monitoring the volume of calls. How making sure we're not, because I'm backing the person up. And where we are right now, I can see doubling that. We definitely would have to hire. And so I've basically been training her to be her own manager, because I told her you're going to have to manage someone else. And so I'm training her, developing her, because I can foresee us needing a second person, not just for answering the phone and making sure all calls get answered, but also just follow up, following up, like you talked about, after some of these classes, because it's one thing you can email, but it's another thing for a quick phone call.
That's right.
So we're wanting to add a layer another layer of personal touch. So I can definitely see within the next 4 to 6 months, that's kind of like my projection time of hiring a second office manager to bring in that support for that personal touch. Yeah, because if we had the double the inspections that we have right now, we would definitely like, oh my God, get somebody in here yesterday.
And oh yes, and we actually found a pest control connection. Ran into a guy at a new construction inspection. He worked for a big company, and we got to talking, and he said, man, if you call me, I will tell you how to do the whole thing. And he actually gave me the numbers that he made for his company on his route alone. And he said, dude, he said, I made my company $900,000 on my route. I guess he services like 3,000 homes a year. I said, man, okay, I see why we need pest control. Good Lord.
So the pest control division really does two things. Obviously, it has a nice income line on the revenue stream. But what happens is home inspections are one-offs. Okay, so you're only as good as the last home inspection you did.
Right.
Okay, where pest control is reoccurring income.
Yeah.
And so you really have a business when you can predict cash flow monthly. Okay, and so that's really, when you've gotten to a business, and that's why I've always preached for our clients to consider an environmental division of their company, not a home inspection, but just set up a doing business as, give it another name, and do radon testing if you do it, which you guys do. And you can do indoor and indoor air quality. You can do pest control and all that under that umbrella of environmental. As other services come along, you could provide that as well. Lead testing, whatever you wanted to do under there. Water testing. I know you guys live in a, kind of a nice development area where there's not many wells. Pretty much everybody's on public utilities. But if you had a home inspector in an area that, that didn't do it, that would be good. If you did sewer scoping, if you decided to do that, would be going to your environmental division, because one of the things about it, if you do it that way, home inspectors will refer you business. They're not going to refer you to business to your home inspection company because they're afraid you're going to get their, but to an environmental company, they'll do it. They'll refer business over there because they know you, like you, and trust you, and they don't feel threatened by referring you their referral sources.
Right.
So when you set it up separately, it generates a nice income stream. And it's recurring income with pest control. And, when you get a pest control operator, no offense to pest control operators, because this isn't true at all, but you really have to have a certain type of person that can go in 3.5 hours and evaluate a home, tell you everything that's wrong with it, and write a report. Okay, that's a whole different than going out and filling up the tank, pump her up, and give her a spray around the house.
Right.
So it's a whole different group of folks that would be interested in those jobs. And so there's a lot of people out there interested in that.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good thing. So 2022, that's kind of on the calendar to look at closer.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Yeah. Home inspector, another administrator, because I've already talked about having the administrative support, also helping us with marketing, like setting up marketing calls, event planning, things like that. Because we wanted to add another kind of like a special, something different besides we're coming in talking about home inspections. How event planners can kind of give it that little flair and pizzazz, more personalized. So someone that has the experience to go in and kind of get like the feel of the company, of the culture of that particular brokerage. And then we go in line with that, versus, hey, we're just coming to talk to you about home inspections because, we've done that. We want to add a little, take it up a notch.
Yeah, I used a little graphic one day, and it was a dog chasing this guy. It looked like a home inspector, and the dog was like about to catch up with the home inspector. And I wrote the sub headline that said, "Oh, I know, nobody likes the home inspector." Even the dog didn't like the home inspector. So if you can present yourself in an audience, something other than that, even what makes us different, that's great. But a lot of times when technology came out, I would go in and say, we'd be teaching a C class. I say, anybody here from the State Department of, Education here from Georgia? And they're like, no. And I said, well, if I spent 15 minutes on marketing, would you be upset? And they said, no. And I said, then I would give them a marketing tip on how to grow their business for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
They'd ask questions. And I said, if you have others, just see me after the class. And so then I became their marketing kind of guy, their consultant on marketing, not just their home inspector.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yes.
13 people going full time. I'm not really their home inspector anyway. One of these 13 folks are, not me. Yes. But you get into all kind of discussions. And when they look at you more as a business owner, they don't look at you as a home inspector.
Right.
But there's nothing wrong with home inspections. I thought it was one of the best businesses in the world because at the end of the day, you've helped two families with critical information to help them be happy or unhappy, So, I mean, I think it's a great thing. But with the real estate agents, you got to get a little bit more cross marketing where you develop a group of vendors and they advertise for you, you advertise for them.
Right.
Lots of opportunities in 2022 to leverage the net.
Yeah.
So that's it. How about other things in 2022 you're excited about? Just something you're excited about besides a good vacation before the end of the year. That's our outcome. See, we have to do all these things to get to our outcome.
Yes. Anything else?
Yeah, I'm just, Ken, I'm always gonna go back to being excited about the 5 pillars.
Okay, let's talk about it because you mentioned it a bit ago, and I know that a lot of people that are going to watch this or listen to this call won't understand what the 5 pillars are.
Listen, because you can kind of just feel like things are everywhere. Like we're trying to inspect, we're trying to get business. I got to do the bookkeeping. I got to get the taxes together. Then I got to make sure I'm saying the right thing on the sales. And so 5 pillars to me bring structure. It can kind of calm your mind down just a little bit to kind of step back to see, okay, where am I right now? Where do I really want to be? And let me take these sections here to help me clean up where I am, make some changes over here with my marketing. And it gives you an opportunity to be honest with yourself about, okay, are we really marketing as good as we really can? And we realized that we weren't.
Right.
And so let's make a shift here. Okay, let's look at our financials. Like you said, we weren't paying ourselves enough for the positions that we hold. And we were paying other people as subcontractors when they were really employees. So we can make adjustments here. And then our technology, we needed to look at, I don't have to be tech savvy, but I at least need to know, is this going to help us with the volume that we are projecting to produce? So it just kind of like brings some structure and organization to help you get to where you want to go. Because I believe that we all can get to where we want to go if we know how to get there. And so for me, the 5 pillars were really critical for me to say, okay, we're going to work on this. We're going to work on this. We need to improve here. We're doing okay here, but ask yourself, how can we do better based on this? Be honest if we are at a 2, because we looked at some of the stuff and was like, this is crap. Like, this is not business.
This is business-ish.
Like Cash App and the way we were paying, I was like, this is not business. This is not business. So you can tell I'm just like,
she loves the 5 pillars.
I do.
What are the 5? You want to tell them the 5 pillars?
Well, you tell them the 5 pillars.
I mean, you sharing. Go ahead. So adamant.
It's the financial piece. It's the marketing and sales piece. It's the team, the operations, and what's the other one?
Yeah, that's really what it is. That's really what it is. The 5, so you got the marketing and then you got your distribution channel. How am I going to get my products and services to the market?
Yes.
So let's talk about this, because really what happens, I think one of the things when I put that together years ago, I got sick of answering this question. People would ask me this every day, say, Ken, what should I do next? Well, hell, I have so many clients. I don't know all the details about everybody's firm. I know you guys' firm because I work with you day in and day out. But a lot of people that I love them, but I just didn't know their operation. So I said, if somebody tells me something, I'm skeptical. I'm going to look and see, does that work anyway? So why don't you work through this for yourself? You tell yourself, and if you're honest with yourself, I don't have to tell you anything. You get it.
Right.
Yes.
So one of them, just like this, part of the 5 pillars is just asking yourself some hard questions, and you have to rate yourself. You have to rate yourself 2 things. How important is that activity to your business today? So if it's not important, it's a 1. But if it's super important, it's a 10. Yeah. Okay, so now we've determined how important that is to your firm. Now comes the hard part, the really honest part. You got to say, how well are you doing that today?
Yeah.
And let's just take lead generation. Home inspectors tell me all the time, when I'm marketing, I'm not inspecting. And when I'm inspecting, I'm not marketing. Mm-hmm. And so my income is cyclical. Okay, It goes up and down, the old bell curve. And that's the reason why, because you have to be a consistent marketer. So then what you have to tell yourself is, marketing, if I don't have any business, I could be the best home inspector in the world. Ain't nobody going to know it because I got no business. Okay,
Yeah.
so, but if you say it's critically important to the firm, but you rate yourself as a 2, which is fair if you're in the bell cycle, then what happens is there's something you better work on.
Yeah.
Because it's important to the firm and you, pardon my marketing term, suck at it.
Yeah.
Right.
So you better beef that thing up. And the other one, which is even more important on that particular page, is you have all these leads coming in, but it is lead conversion, converting visitors into paying customers, whether on the phone or your website or whatever, are turning those visitors into customers, your prospects into customers. Is that important? It's the most critical thing you can do in the business. Okay. And so a lot of people are terrible at it. So I had a mastermind group client, and I asked him one day, I said, he was lamenting he didn't have enough business. I said, I've worked for you for years. You know what? You got enough business. Let's look at your firm otherwise. So the first thing I said to him is, what's the closing ratio of your scheduler? He said, I got no clue. And I said, oops, that's an ish part of business.
Yes.
You need to know that every time somebody asks you that, you need to know the conversion ratio of your scheduler. So we went to look at it. It was like 45 or 50%, most time 45. So let's just say it was 50. Okay, so you generate 100 leads, 50 went away because your scheduler wasn't any good.
Wow.
Okay, so do you really have a lead gen problem, or do you have a conversion problem? I think you got a conversion problem, because you got leads coming in, but if you can't close them, bam. So you need to know your scheduler. So the 5 pillars makes you take a critical look at your own self. And if you're honest, it's a very valuable tool.
Yeah.
But I've seen people that are in the bell curve of, marketing and inspecting, and they'll rate themselves an 8. And I'm saying, you just lied to yourself.
Right.
Because if you were doing everything right, you wouldn't be talking to me about this. How do I get more business?
Right.
So, but it's a great tool. It's a great tool. I release my inner nerd on that thing. I can work on that thing for hours.
Yeah. Look, that's why you had to break it down for you. Like, okay, what's the most important thing, like right here, right now? And so we looked at, okay, our conversion, because we had an incident like 1 month, like 95 calls got missed. I about lost it.
Ouch.
I know I did lose it.
Yeah, you lost it.
I lost it because it was like, do you know how many thousands of dollars that is?
That's right.
And so our thing is, no call gets left behind. No client gets left behind. Somebody gonna answer this phone, and somebody is gonna at least answer the phone. It's one thing to answer. It's like, okay, we can fix how you communicate, but to not answer my phone is like, I'm coming blazing. You might have to edit that, but that's just
that's good. That's the right way to look at it.
Honest. You have to be honest with yourself that you can do better. A lot of times business owners, we may not want to look at ourselves and say that sucks, because you may feel like it's something against your character. No, it's just the systems need to be oiled. And if you suck, you suck. Find somebody else to do it if you suck at it. So it's helping us see what I suck at, what he suck at, and we remove people that suck so we can get people that help us win at this thing.
That's right. If they're not pulling the wagon.
If you are not pulling the wagon.
You're not pulling the wagon. That's it. So one of the things I really liked, and I know we're up against the hard break, so we'll end up here in just a minute, but one of the things I really loved was the leadership one, because I'm not looking for somebody, I'm not looking for somebody to come in and just be a good person. I'm looking for somebody to take my job. Okay, so I want to look, what other things do you want to do in the firm so that I can achieve my goals, which, like 64 years old, I'm ready to look at that bucket list. Yeah. I'm ready to start getting out with a wife and doing some things, but when we're both tied to the desk, that doesn't work so well. Right. So leadership, start looking at what people can bring, not only as a home inspector today, but tomorrow. What kind of skills do they have that they could offer some other things in your firm to let you guys get your month vacation without having to be called. So always look at what other talents, and because of the crazy situation in the market with the pandemic and all that, there's a lot of good people out of business. Yeah. Not only are they out of business, other business owners, but there is a lot of good employees that no longer work for their company.
Right.
And so this is a tremendous opportunity for us to snag some people that aren't just a home inspector or a marketer, or a phone call answerer, scheduler, if you will. There's real opportunities here on other things.
Yeah. That's good.
Okay. I want to leave today, and I want to ask you guys about this, and this is our tip, because we want to, every time we do a podcast, we want to give a tip. You can take away this information and you can use it tomorrow or today if you got another home inspection. Okay, so I say the best way to get reviews, which are absolutely marketing gold. is ask for the review.
Yes.
Yes.
What do you guys think?
Absolutely. You go.
Yes. Oh, definitely. The driveway presentation. That was one thing we changed this year.
Yes.
To go ahead and set the expectation. And I have taught that to every home inspection class since we've heard that from you. Just telling them right up front, go ahead and tell the people what you're going to do it, and then get the 5-star review. And it has been working tremendously for us. And actually, it's actually helped us even with, sometimes you get that home buyer that wants to follow you and pull you away from the electrical to take you to the water heater. And it's helped us set the expectation that I'm following this program. This is what I told you I'm going to do. So if you give me an opportunity, I'll come and look at your concern, but don't mess up my program. So it's been great. And it's been working phenomenal for us.
And everybody could implement that tomorrow, couldn't they? Couldn't they ask for inspections? I mean, for reviews when they're at the driveway spot?
Exactly.
Yeah. And our team members, like I said, he's been teaching it to our team members. And we've been getting them, calling them by the name.
Yes.
In the 5-star reviews, they'll say our team member did a great job, thorough. So that's a part of their bonus. So we've definitely seen a high increase of our 5-star reviews.
Yes.
Didn't cost one penny to implement that, did it?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Made a big difference in what happens.
Yes.
Well, folks, I'll tell you, I know we're up against a hard break, so I'm going to not keep you any longer, but I can't tell you how excited I am, not only about the success of your firm, but how I'm excited, Beth and I both, about you joining the Savvy Inspectors, a success coach. Our members can learn tons from you. You're fun and funny. We like to work hard, but we also are somewhat irreverent. I want you to follow that Ken's lead, because you can still learn a bunch and have fun. I think, it's not all solemn and all that. I like to have a little fun. So we're really excited about having you, and we're going to keep following it. And I know you guys are going to be hosting some of these podcasts as we move along. I'm out taking a small vacation.
Good for you.
Please
Good
do.
for you.
Please do.
Yes.
Again, thank you very much, and we look forward to talking to you soon.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All righty. Bye now.
Bye.
Boom. Off. Okay. See how easy that is?
Yes, sir.
I mean, you can do it. You can do it all day long.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Oh, I did have a question though for you, Ken.
Okay.
So with the pest control piece, do we need to, how do we get that started? Do we hire somebody for pest control, or do we train somebody? I mean, what's the route that you would recommend for that?
The guy that told you that he brought his company $900,000, how satisfied is he with his current position?
That's a good question.
How would he like to be the manager of your new division?
Right.
Then we run the right path and see if he has management skills. And then what he doesn't have, we can train him. But somebody's turning that route into that kind of money. We had a guy at Arrow, that's who we used personally. And we had a young guy named Daniel, and he would come to our house and he would just, call, text, or say, I'm on my way or whatever. And Beth would say, we're both on a call, so just come on in. And he would do his whole thing really good. And then he would take it just a second and talk to us about, I noticed that, you guys are getting mosquito treatments and your neighbors aren't, so it's not as effective. So maybe what you might want to do is mention it to your neighbors. And if you do, we'll give you a special price.
Okay.
And we said, whether they do it or don't, we're doing it. So everything he recommended, we did, because he's a professional in the business. We knew him, like him, and trust him. And we're not in the pest control business. We want to live a comfortable life without pests.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why we got rid of our cat. No, I'm kidding. I'm not a cat person, but I know lots of people love cats. Beth loves cats. So anyway, but we don't have one. So, but that's what I would do. I would just feel them out. Just have a candid conversation. Say, are you happy what you're doing? And would you like to stay in that business, but take a different leadership role? And how do you feel about training people? And the same way with Brandon right now, I'm working with him on a merger between another firm in Seattle and his. Right. And so we just have to ask some common sense questions. Are you happy? What are your long-term goals? And that kind of thing. And I will tell you that if you go on, and I'm working on Indeed, getting him as a partner vendor now, but if you go on Indeed and type in just what you want to know about recruiting or interviewing or all that, they have the best material.
Okay.
So you can just go in, look on Indeed's blog, and then on the blog search whatever the terms, how to hire a general manager. And or what skills should a general manager have, or whatever like that, and you'll get a whole list, and that'll give you some ideas for some questions. But I'd start with this guy.
Okay.
Did you like him?
Yeah, he was great. Yeah, he was great. Yeah.
There's a reason he's successful, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You got to get into personal skills.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right. Well, you guys have a great weekend. I'll send you some of these crazy backgrounds and you look at them and then we'll tweak them. The thing is, if you could give me your feedback within a day or two after I send you something, that keeps the pipeline flowing.
Yes, sir.
Because if you can imagine, we have 5 new websites going up. It is insane. We just hired 2 new webmasters. I mean, it is crazy. So when I want the Savvy Inspector is not Ken, the future. The Savvy Inspector was Ken, but I'm trying to move this thing forward where it's not Ken.
Yes, sir.
I want you guys to be happy with what it looks like, how it feels. It's modern, it's younger, you know, those kinds of things. I don't want the geezer be making all the decisions. Anything else for me before you guys get going?
No, sir. Sounds good. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah, my manicure and pedicure in today, so I get Friday off, so I can work more.
Okay. Take you some time. Take Beth out.
Yeah. What about the restaurants? Are your favorite places still open?
Yes, sir. Everything's open.
Everything is still open.
We've had a real trouble here. Our favorite Greek restaurant, been in business 25 years, out of business.
Oh, wow.
Couldn't get enough staff, and just supply costs are up, and drove customers away because they're always used to paying this much for Greek food now. And then we got some restaurants that are really nice, only open for dinner, $30, $40 a entree. I mean, they're getting killed because right now you go in there, it's $120 for 3 or more. Wow. And that's kind of gotten to be with the cost of groceries and all that kind of stuff, and gas a little bit harder. Plus, a lot of people here on fixed incomes, so they're not, and I'm not saying that they're low fixed incomes, please know that,
right.
but they just really think, ooh, I can eat at home and drink at the club or whatever, or I can drink at the club and go starving, so it's kind of really had a toll on quite a few of the restaurants, and even the chain restaurants can't get people.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Bonefish and Carrabba's, and in Naples, when we lived there, who pushed the carts at Publix? 70-year-olds.
Oh, wow.
Kids ain't gonna push no cart, they're driving a Ferrari.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, excuse me.
Okay. All right. Well, go ahead.
All right, guys. I'm gonna get out of here.
Ken, have a good one.
See you. Thank you. Bye-bye.